Hey guys, what's up? It's Heather with the Moss Co, and today I wanted to do the August garden tour. So we live in East Tennessee. This is a zone 7A. I did look it up finally. We are literally right on the border of A and B, so like half a mile that way it's a 7B if you go a little bit higher, a little bit up the hill. I wouldn't even say higher in elevation. Hey baby, what's up?
Can I eat a popsicle?
Yeah, you can have a popsicle. You want the ones down here? You want the new ones?
Oh yeah, I want the new popsicle.
Or do you want your Jell-O?
I want some popsicle.
Alrighty, I was on popsicle duty. So, we're gonna do a garden tour. This is August. Things are looking pretty tired. I have started cleaning things out and cleaning up beds and just getting rid of dead stuff. Also in my raised beds, my drip tubing failed. I'm trying to troubleshoot it and figure it out now. I was doing that earlier today, and then Wyatt wanted to go inside, and it's a whole thing. So we'll show you what we got going. It's very real life. We're going to start up here, though, next to the garage in my beautiful garage containers. So these have probably been the thing that I've been most happy with this year. There is a fern back here and a fern up here, and they've been putting on new growth. This is a Diamond Frost Euphorbia, which I didn't even know had leaves like this. And so I pulled it for a while. This is an asparagus fern, hippo plant down here. I'm pretty sure this is a Surefire white begonia. There's this type of begonia, which is also over there. I did not water these. They lost water, and so that one's struggling a little bit. But overall, it's doing really good. This is not hooked up on drip. There's begonias up here, lamb's ear, and I wanted to do something very tonal this year up here. And I have really enjoyed, this has probably been my favorite thing this year. Enjoy this arrangement. Let me let you get a little up close view of it. Let me move you in so you can see. Just really looks lush and beautiful. And another thing that I put in here that I'm excited about is I put some Dichondra Silver Falls. I wasn't even sure if it would grow in this area, but the other thing that I was excited for this for was so that, look at this asparagus fern. Like, it just puts on new growth and gets huge and intermingles, and it's fluffy and beautiful, and I love this asparagus fern. All the textures, all different colors. I did put a Toffee Twixt Carex in here and a Dichondra Silver Falls with fall planting in mind. Another thing that I'm concerned about is that I may love it so much that I don't want to plant it up for fall, but I do have some wonderful ideas of decorating this up for Halloween. I do like to change this up seasonally. This is the doorway that we walk in the most, and so this is really important for me that it's beautiful all the time. I would like to do something taller. I need to do either wreath, something taller with this, but it's this beautiful spot of garden that I can change out seasonally, and it's not on drip, and it's doing really well, so I'm really happy with that. So we're gonna swing over here to the left to this garden bed. Now, if you'll remember, so over here, if you'll remember, we had these all planted up for summer, and this is the impatient that I had totally written off, and it actually is the thing that looks the best out here. I've had this in here since last fall. This is a thriller, and it's just a nice evergreen texture, so I've left it. I didn't love the plants I put in here, and it was getting to where I needed to cut down the water that this is on for everything else. And I think next year I need to put a separate drip line in that runs the length of this, because it feeds that new bed as well, just to do the annuals, because I had to turn the drip down for the other plants, and the annuals are suffering. And this was on that same thing too, and it needs to obviously be watered every day. So I'm excited to plant this up for fall. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that, because kind of the whimsy here is that it will grow up and spill over, and in fall plants, you know, they don't do a whole lot of growing. So we'll see how that works up. For winter, I'm very excited for like my Christmas season, because I can just stick, you know, branches out of here and pine cones, so I'm excited about that. The hosta bed here, I actually never groomed this thing and decided to groom it yesterday, and boy am I happy that I did. It looks much better. It desperately needs, I think it gets too much sun over here is what the problem is, and these poor leaves just bleach out and burn, and So it'd probably be better if I put a different plant in here. However, it is so established and for the most part looks really lush that even like that one right there, I had to trim most of this off. Even if I have to trim it, it looks so lush and it's so established, and I put all those daffodils in here that I'm hoping will naturalize, that at this point I think I'm just gonna leave it. I have toyed in my mind with the idea of where all this rock is, putting some kind of ground cover, because it would be pretty easy to keep it contained, and we get a lot of erosion of the rocks on the other side of the stairs. You'll notice on the stairs as well, I've got some pumpkins. Those are the pumpkins that we picked the other day. There will be a video coming out about that, so you'll see that as well. So let's go up these stairs and see those beds up there. Well, first I could give you a closer look at the hostas. Like, look how, it's just lush and green. You know, it's just lush and green and simple. And in the spring, it's magnificent, and it just gets tattered through the year. But if I stayed on top of the grooming, it might be a lot better. So let's go up here. I'm gonna grab my gimbal and bring it with me, even though I'm not using it. Also recently, you can see I've already got fall plant fever because I picked up this poor, like, grass that is just struggling. But as we walk by, look at these containers that had the houseplants in them that were dead. Looking much better. All right, this might be the most complicated place to stop, but I am gonna stop here because this view, when you're coming up the stairs and you've got the jazzberry here and the rudbeckia, which is a little floppy, and the lamb's ear, there comes the rain, hopefully it'll hold out a little bit, is majestic to me. So on this side we've got dahlias, on the back there we've got dahlias, and they're doing okay. These three plants just make the most majestic walkway and renew my faith in gardening, and I love it. So let's go up here. So up here, I am desperately trying to beat the rain, but I did do a tour of this the other day. And this jazzberry, I think that's the only Supertunia I'm buying next year. It looks beautiful. It really well contrasts the yellow. I do have some Veronica here, and this section of Veronica is doing well. This one's struggling, and it's dry as a bone, even though I'm pretty sure there's a drip line like right here. So I need to troubleshoot and make sure the drip's not broken, but also I see vole holes here. I have been battling voles all summer, so that's not good. My cardinal roses are finally not being eaten by bugs. And so they're doing a lot better. I've got blooms on them that are looking better. Let me show you one close up. See if I can get that on camera for you. I mean, this one's past its prime, but you can see that beautiful color. Looking really pretty. And the dahlias are starting to put on some color as well. So I'm going to swing you around this way. Oh, before we do that, I'm going to be putting more lamb's ear in this garden because it's beautiful and it spills over and it always looks lush and green. This planter, a couple things. A, I stopped fertilizing it. B, I'm never putting a sweet potato vine in there again. C, I think that the basket itself is too small to support the root balls. But I think next year we're just gonna go with jazzberry and we're gonna fertilize it a ton. So I've got a video coming out about this bed, doing a tour of this bed, but also telling you the things that I think went wrong or went right in this bed. So hopefully we're gonna beat the rain. So I've really enjoyed these this year. They get too big. And I think this is another area next year where I'm just gonna do the jazzberry, one plant per pot. I love how this looks. Or I may not do Supertunias at all. I may do like a grass and something else or something. But the combos just aren't working for me. Again, I need to be more consistent with my fertilizer. I'm not putting these plants enough food. On this side, we've got the double up pink begonias. They have done surprisingly well. Last year I would have written off begonias, but this year they're doing well. This area is staying way too wet and that one's staying too dry. And they're on the same drip. So I don't know if I need to cut a drip line here or if that one's just not functioning, but I need to troubleshoot that here in the winter, find out what's going on. Also, I've got coleus here, and I love this coleus. This is Wicked Witch. Another thing I could have done better this summer was to trim this back so it would be bushier. I love coleus. I think I'm going to put a lot of coleus in the garden next year. In the new garden bed, which desperately I'm looking at now, needs to be blown. It takes a long time to get your hands on that many perennials, and because it's down the slope, erosion has been an issue, and I put all that mulch in and you can just see where the water runs off. So I need to put some ground cover plants, some edge plants at the very least, but I think I'm gonna pack it full of coleus just to have something in there so it won't wash out. But this is beautiful. Another thing that with my house being so orangey dark, I like to go with bright green. So I'm thinking of actually doing some really small lime lights if I can find what I'm looking for in here, and doing perennials in here instead next year, and just leaving this strip in the front for annuals. I also put some salvia in here and it did not do well because the coleus was pushing it over on it and it probably got too wet for it as well. But the begonias have really done it. This isn't really my color wheel though. Because the house is so dark, I like to go with really saturated colors. I think it bounces more. Also, we're in the woods and almost everything other than the small section out here is shade. And so the shade starts right here and kind of goes on. So you need things that can handle light and shade, which is another reason why some of these containers aren't doing really well. But overall, the coleus looks amazing. Like, this Wicked Witch coleus is magic, but it would be really fun to do if I was not gonna do perennials next year. A whole bunch of lime time up here, really great. So let's go over here and look at the new garden bed. I saw a snake in here the other day, so I'm gonna turn around and look where I'm walking and inspect a little bit before I talk to you, because I don't like snakes. I want them to be here and to do good things for my garden, like, you know, eat these voles. I see vole holes that I didn't treat yesterday, but I don't want to see them. We can be like mutual beneficiary relationship. We ain't gotta be friends. I'm kind of a loner in that way. I don't want to hang out with you. So this is our Japanese maple. I shared how the top died out of it. And I keep reading things that say just give it a chance. So I'm just gonna give it a chance. This part right here is deader than a doornail though. And that's brown in there. So, good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, she'll come back out and be beautiful. I've really enjoyed this shade garden. I love the way it frames the house and gives the grass a place to end. But I'm hoping it gets, because it was so pretty, like big and lush, and then we can plant something that's like a chartreusey color underneath it, or a blue color, because this has got red, and its foliage was so pretty this fall. It does kind of green up throughout the summer because it is protected by these trees above us. But obviously there's not a lot that's happened here. We do have all these hostas. I do need more hostas. There's heuchera here. The heuchera is not doing good, so we're gonna pull that. There's some, let me pull you a little closer so you can kind of see. So we've got our hostas here, looking good. We battled voles here in this bed as well. That has probably been my #1 nemesis this summer, and Juicy Fruit will not take care of it. So for every internet source that said, you see, I'm scared. For every internet source that said use some Juicy Fruit, that did not work, but it wasn't, we didn't invest a lot of money. So where the bright green one is over there, that was a different one that's trying to come back. That one's got, looks like a little bit of burn on it, but they're just holding. And so hopefully they get really big and lush and take over this area. I'm kind of at a loss of what to do in this area. I know I want to get some Japanese painted ferns somewhere, and I know I want to do some Brunnera and some of those really big ferns maybe over that way, but I'm just kind of at a loss. And so I bounce around ideas, but nothing's really hit for me yet. So for the rest of this bed up, there is the row of hydrangeas back here. These are just the reblooming endless summer blue hydrangeas. Hopefully they will form a hedge. Back here, that one is more than 1 year old, so you can see how much more growth it has coming back. And I did stress these with lack of water. So they're all green, they're looking good, they bloomed for me. They're probably too close together, but there'll be a whole line, just a whole hedge of hydrangea back there. And behind that, we try to keep a tractor access area, which will also be used for, Wyatt has been really into his Power Wheels, and he likes to ride through some of these trails, so I need to make sure that I keep wide enough spaces for him and the tractor to get through. So we're gonna go that way and take a look at one more plant, which is my camellia, dream plant. So here she is, my April remembered camellia. There are so many vole trails back here, and mushrooms and weeds, and I need to come out here and maintenance this bed. This is another one that I would like to do a lot of. I can't figure out what to do here. I kind of feel like if we did Brunnera in the front and then ferns behind it, and then let this be, let me not get a tick on me, and let this get really tall. It's a camellia, so eventually it will get really tall. Camellias, and it's got lots of buds on it, and it's this light pink color, so it might be really great with some ferns. But I feel like it needs a different color, so maybe some reds or some chartreuse colors here. But I'm really loving this bed. I just got to figure out what plants I want to put in it, but it has so many buds on it, and I can't wait for her to bloom. I love camellias. Camellias scream Southern for me. There's a handful of plants that just really scream Southern for me. I actually lived in South Georgia for a long period of my life and really relate to that, and camellias is one of those. Magnolias, and I would like to put in a row of magnolias around our gravel turnaround area for two reasons. One, because you need them. They're a southern plant. They're evergreen. They make those really pretty white blooms. And B, I would like to use them in winter decorating projects. So hydrangeas to me scream southern, those blue hydrangea blooms. Hydrangeas, camellias, gardenias. I need to put a gardenia in that bed that we were just in up front. I would like to put a gardenia right next to the stairs. But I'm gonna have to figure out that wetness because gardenias don't like wet feet. So the bed goes that way, and again, my house is literally right there. So let's go pan over that way some, and we'll walk and take a look over here. I love this little planter here. I made its little teepee out of sticks. I love stick art in my garden. I think it goes really well with the theme, but you can see how the water erodes and how I need to blow this. There's also a hedge of hydrangeas back here. They are getting too much sun, and they are covered in weeds, and I need to come out here and maintenance them. But I do want to put some iris in here, but I just don't quite know what to do yet. And if you'll notice, like, this is the walkway area that goes in the middle, and I had these stones perfectly kind of done, but Wyatt came out here and he likes to pick them up and see if there's bugs underneath them. So, and you can see where it's eroding. It's just from, this is where the water comes out, so we need plants that can handle a whole lot of water to just come in here and prevent that, but I also need to be wide enough that he can get his Power Wheels through. So we'll figure out about that. Comment in the comment section what do you think we should do, but this bed goes all the way around, and so we're gonna go over there and take a look. Alrighty, so these plants here, and again, this is another baby bed, and we do need to do something because we again have erosion problems here. And that doesn't look like a mole hole. That looks like a snake hole. Nothing please come out of there. So these plants have mole holes around them too. Voles. The voles have been out here a lot. Hopefully that rain holds out. These two plants here are Jason's pick. Jason's from Florida, and these are to me too tropical for what we're going for, but he loves them. I love the pop of red. I think they're beautiful plants, and so he wanted them. This was the only full sun spot I had left, so I put them next to each other. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put two red plants next to each other, so I do need to do something in the front that's not red, probably yellow. But look at this. This is a Holy Grail Summerific hibiscus, and this is a Toucan canna, and I do love the red. I love the red. It looks really good here, and they're thriving. They're doing really well, and this will get huge and take up this space. Our crabapple doing really well. Come on, rain, slow down for us. And then we've got his rose here. This is a peace rose, so it's that yellowy pink color, and it's about to bloom again. So let's go down there and check out those plants, because that's been a vole's breakfast for a while. So here we are back down on the driveway where things are looking a little sketchy. So this is catmint, struggling. I don't really care for it. These plants here have been all but completely eaten by voles. They are vole-holed to death. I'm struggling, but they are banana cream 2 Shasta daisies. This is sedum that the voles ate as well. And then all of this empty space here that is now weeds was Supertunia Vista jazzberry. They ate 6 of them, 5 of them, 6 of them, something like that. So we've got an opportunity here, and we've got to get our voles under control, but I am leaving this for annual plantings. I do have 1,000 bulbs ordered to dig this out. I'm going to line it with hardware cloth. I'm going to put hardware cloth on top, because guess what's vole's favorite? Bulbs. So we'll get that going, and I can't wait for that swath of spring color. I may take out these catmint. They look terrible, and I don't like them. I may just move them over here and give them a chance. But I think it would be better to continue the whole line all the way to the corner. So then I've got my limelight hydrangea here, which I may or may not have left enough room for it, but it is blooming, and she is gorgeous, and she makes me want a whole lot more limelights with a nice weed over there. This is a salvia, and I love that the purple on this is a more vibrant, almost blue purple, and I almost feel like I need a stand of Rudbeckia here to contrast that purple, but it's so close to my banana creams, so it'd be white then yellow, but they'll be the same structure of flowers, and I usually try to mix that up, but I do love that. This is my full sun area, so if I want something full sun, this is kind of where it has to go. Let's scoot down a little bit and we'll look at the next group of plants. So in here we've got, I'll zoom in maybe. You can see kind of here, here, and here. Those are David Austin roses. They are a beautiful color, Munstead wood of super saturated red. And then in front of those, I just planted these daylilies, and they are the Primal Scream, so super bright orange. Really saturated colors is what I go for here. And then I've got my coneflower here, which I shared that I was clipping weeds. And this poor little one right here, I just cut that sucker to the ground thinking it was a weed. But it came back, and so plant resilience. Back here we've got a forsythia, so in the spring you can imagine, and I would like to fill in between all of these perennials with some creeping phlox, because this is on a slope, so I think before the perennials get big, it'd be nice to do creeping phlox in between and have our big show of tulips every year, creeping phlox, and then we've got our pink crabapple over here and our yellow forsythia. I think that would be spring perfection. There was like a little side shoot, like sucker of this tree growing off, and it was really shading my blue spruce, so Jason took that out for me yesterday, so very thankful for that. But that blue spruce is doing great, hasn't skipped a beat, it's not on water, looks great, but I feel like the bed just abruptly ends, and you can see where the jazzberry was. And it is struggling for water right now, but it still looks really good. And it's still super bright and kind of goes with my bright saturated bed. And this is what we see a lot of. So I wanted to pack it full of saturated colors, and I definitely did that, but I feel like it just stops right here, and I need to put in like a whole stand of limelights or something, like maybe 3 limelights, just not even fix underneath them, just put in 3 limelights, let it grow up and really make an edge to that bed, because I feel like it just kind of stops there and the woods start. That's part of the struggle here, is that we are surrounded by woods, and without a hard place for them to stop, that's part of the struggle here, is that we are surrounded by woods. And so you have to decide where the woods stop and where the woods start, and you have to make an edge. And so I'm struggling in some places to define what that edge is, and that's the purpose of that hydrangea thing over there. These will get, this limelight will get big enough to make its own edge. The forsythia will do that. The plants themselves should get big and bushy and fill in and make their own edge. But on that edge, there's just nothing, and so I need to do something over there. So let's flip over here and go to the raised bed gardens. Here is the random volunteer pumpkin, which produced us 2 Cinderella pumpkins, and so that's really impressive. This is the beds that I lost my drip tubing on, so things are looking a little sad. In the beginning of the year, this was my favorite spot. Now it's a struggle for me. Got a lot of opportunity here, let's put it that way. All right, so this was a lavender that got too much water, then I pulled the drip and it got no water and it died. This is that Munstead wood rose. Look how bright that color is. And that thing smells amazing. And it needs to be kind of trimmed down and tamed into something a little bit more bush-like. But I'm just letting it do its thing, it looks great. This is a blackberry bush that's thornless, and it's supposed to be a bush, but it's sending out shoots every which way. So I'm not sure about it, and the birds keep eating the blackberries quicker than I can. Behind that, we were gonna grow corn in here. The corn got about yay high. We didn't have consistent water to it. It tried to make ears, it just wasn't doing it. So I need to fix the water to this bed, and that's where my garlic will go. Let me swing you around this way. Alrighty, over here, we've got, this is a color-coded something echinacea. Looks like garbage. It's not very brightly colored like I thought it would be. Orange You Awesome or something. I think it's just faded out, but I'm gonna leave it here so that these can create seed pods. Genovese basil, a cabbage, which I don't know, might be in too small of a container. Also got eaten to death by slugs. Some chives that I can get chives off of on a regular basis. And then we've got our tomato plants. These are, I pulled our spring crops out and I put these in and I created these tomato cages, which are struggling. And I love these tomato cages. I think these are super whimsical and what I need all over my garden to match, the log cabin-y. And I'm getting plenty of tomatoes on them when my dog doesn't eat them. That's been an issue. Then we've got black-eyed peas or cow peas growing over the trellis. Has produced for me pretty good. I did a video on harvesting those. Scooch down a little bit more. This was my Mother's Day pot here. I pulled all the plants out of it because, again, everything lost water, and so a lot of especially the containers, died on me. Down here we've got more tomatoes. We've got that empty bed. Blueberry that, bless its heart, I just need to get it out of that pot, quite frankly. My herbs here, but I've removed a lot of stuff out of containers. The Amazel basil down here, killing it. Plant is a beast. Can't say enough about that plant. Have dried a bunch of basil off of it, have eaten a bunch of basil off of it. Like that is one plant in a plastic pot. That is $10 at most. And it hadn't had water in forever. And look at it. It's fine. It's great. Great plant. So I will say that next year I will probably pick a better vine for my trellis. This isn't going all the way over like I like. And just last year I had the green beans and it was super ethereal and beautiful. And this year we don't have that. And I'm kind of missing that. So that's that. This down here is not very spectacular at all. It's not living its best life. It's ready for fall. It is not gonna have any problems removing any of this for fall. So let's go over here to the vegetable garden to finish out this tour. So I'm gonna start right here. This is our stand of volunteer pumpkins. It's a hot mess. Not plant a single one of these. It's just growing and powdery mildewing up, and I'm not doing a thing to it. It's not on water, nothing. But I've gotten 4 pumpkins so far, and I think there's 5 or 6 more that I'm gonna be able to get, so I'm not gonna complain. This is free, and it's messy, but it's done well. So, moving on. Gotta traipse through the pumpkin vines here. I don't keep it clean back here. There's not much to it, so, you know, don't judge. So, we'll start on row 1. There are 4 rows here, and I learned recently that rows should be north to south, and this happens to be north and south, but that was not on purpose. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tomato plants here. Far and away, my favorite tomato this summer has been the Gin Fizz. It's an heirloom variety. It produced pretty well for us. It probably produced almost as good as like my big boy tomatoes. That's what's in my my raised beds. And my Roma, my San Marzano Roma, has produced fairly well. As of late, I actually see 2 tomatoes I need to get off of it today. But by far the best flavor to me, the Gin Fizz tomatoes have done really well. Brandywine Pink has done well as well. I just don't think they taste as good as the Gin Fizz. There are a lot of tomatoes here on the vine of, I think, is the Brandywine Pink. So we'll see if they actually turn for us. If not, we can fry them up green. There's plenty of tomatoes on here. I did prune this fairly recently so I can see more fruit setting. About to get more cherry tomatoes. I can't remember what cultivar of cherry tomato that is, but it has not been my favorite. I think I'm going to go with a different cultivar next year. And the Gin Fizz has got another whole bunch of tomatoes on it. So we're probably going to get another round of tomatoes here shortly. Like I say, I have been keeping these fairly pruned up. These are tomato cages from Amazon, and they are terrible. I would not recommend them at all, ever again. I always wait too long before I start staking my stuff. That's a theme throughout here, that I did not stake good, and that's why I'm not having as much productivity. And then I'll come out here and trim them up, get to where there's like 50% green, but they could probably use some more trimming. Funny thing about my dog eating the tomatoes was I couldn't figure out why he would get like green stains on his fur, and it was because he's rubbing the tomato plants. I've got too many tomatillos here. I made 1 jar of salsa verde. I should have planted 1 plant, staked it better, and trimmed it, and it probably would have been done a lot better. Next to it, we'll pan down that way. Next to that, this vine here that's looking struggle, that was our butternut squash vine, and I was going to pull it today, and we ran out of time. I got probably 10 off of it, and I was very happy with that. I'm not going to complain at all. That was fantastic. Behind that, we planted some sunflowers, and they did come up looking a little bit spotty, but fairly good. And actually, I think the plants are just being eaten is more the problem than them coming up. So that's all row 1. So that's going to be sunflowers. So hopefully those come up and do well for us. We got to get this water back working. Over here in row 2, the beginning of row 2, we have got a watermelon, and we'll go over there and look at that. So there is a hot mess of vines in here. But there is our Crimson Sweet watermelon. I also had another type of watermelon around here too. That Crimson Sweet actually needs to be picked, but I already have one on the counter. So I need to pick that as well. I had another type of watermelon in here too. And somewhere between the people coming to fix that's my well, and everything else, it got trampled. 3 of the watermelons actually burst, but we did get 1 watermelon off of it, and it was incredible. And I think I see another watermelon somewhere in here. Let me see. Yep. Here's another vine, and there's a watermelon forming up right here and one forming up right here. So we will leave that. I was gonna pull them today, but obviously not. If they're gonna create watermelons for them, we are not gonna stop them from doing their job. But it does look a hot mess. The next thing in this is the zinnias here. The zinnias are probably my biggest lesson learned on staking. I probably do need to come cut some more zinnias today. I have loved these plants so incredibly much, but I have staked the mess out of these plants with some kind of half butt string and stake situation. Finally, I've got them growing upright. From now on, I will be staking my zinnias with that stuff from the get-go. Stake your zinnias. But look at, walk through the sunflowers here. This is a menagerie of different type of seeds. But these flowers are gorgeous and bright and sunny and beautiful, and they're like sunshine in a vase. You can't see that. Let me go up here with it. Gorgeous, gorgeous flowers, and has really ignited my passion for growing more flowers. So we're gonna keep walking. There's some more zinnias that have been trampled and not loved, and there's the poor patch of snapdragons that has also not been loved. And I'm going to take you off this. First thing I need to do is come out here and do something about these slugs. Ridiculous. But in any case, this is my eggplant, and I got one so far. And there's one here that can probably go ahead and be picked. There's one over there. And there's one baby one over there. These plants looked rough for a while, but they are doing it, and I'm loving it. Behind that, we've got our red bell pepper, which has not yet produced one, but it's starting to. Like, it's getting there. We are getting there on the red bell pepper. Look, look. So maybe we'll get some. Behind that in this row was where we started some cilantro seeds, and it is coming up. We're getting some true leaves on there. The next row here is okra. And I think okra is probably the prettiest leaf structure of a vegetable. I guess it technically produces fruit, but I need to come get that one, don't I? I need to come harvest today. There's some tomatoes out here too. But also the prettiest flowers, and none of them are open right now, of course. But just the most beautiful white flowers okra produces. So pretty. Love these plants. Very pretty, and I need to come harvest some off here. So then here's my 5 jalapeno plants. Doing really, really well. Very happy with these. Y'all saw us harvest in a video recently all of these plants. You saw us harvest in a video recently all of these plants. Again, another opportunity next year to stake better. Next to that, we have our cucumber patch that I tried and not waste and keep up on, and it is still producing cucumbers, but I finally had to give up. And there is a plethora of rotting cucumbers, and I meant to come out here today and pull these vines, and I did not get an opportunity. I need to desperately do something out here with the weeds and the vines and this such and such. So that goes to the end of that row. And then on the 4th row here, we'll start down there. We've got another pumpkin plant here. This made beautiful pink pumpkin. It's got a couple more that are trying to form up, so we'll see how that works out. In the worst case of powdery mildew you've pretty much ever seen, I've been cutting these leaves off, and I have not been able to get squash this year. But there's my squash plant. Looking real sad. I don't know what's up with me not being able to grow squash this year. There's some more cucumber carnage. But this is 2 zucchini plants. Probably only needed 1. And we've got a zucchini over there, which I need to go get. But it's been producing, and we don't waste zucchini around here. Believe it or not, we do pretty well keep up on it. Behind that, I've got another thing of zinnias. I'm pretty sure that we'll have time to get flowers before the end of the season, and I will be staking these. We will be using that flower netting. These are the beans, the sugar snap peas that we started together and built trellises out of sticks for, and they have come up really great on this one. On this one, for some reason, just on one side. So, you know, take what we can get. I'm not going to reseed. And then we've got collard greens here, and they came up pretty good as well. So hopefully lots and lots of produce to come. Really, really happy with this area. Really, really happy with everything we've gotten out of it this year. And this is the area as a whole from the backside. I mean, these okra just look so pretty. They're just these giant plants with beautiful leaves. Love these things. So that's gonna be it for me in this video. I wanted to give you guys I wanted to give you guys a walk around what things are looking like here in August. A lot of the stuff's looking tired. I'm cleaning out a lot of stuff, getting ready for fall. But I am getting a lot of produce, and I'm super excited about that. Been super thrilled with how much I'm getting out of this vegetable garden. So I wanted to give you guys a look around. Hopefully you'll start to see more videos with some fall plants in them. As soon as I can get my hands on some fall plants, we're gonna have them because things are looking a little rough and need a recharge. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.